Hey guys, this is a segment from the Slumpbuster Podcast. You can find the full episode on any of the various podcast platforms, or of course, subscribe to us on YouTube for more of our content. Other than that, guys, sit down, bust a slump, and enjoy. Last night, we were live in the Toyota Center in Houston, watching James Harden, the Houston Rockets, versus the Los Angeles Lakers. It was a bit of a runaway. Stopped the count at one point in there. And there was an obvious trend that myself and Slumpbuster Bob kept saying throughout the game. Man, James doesn't look into it tonight. And little did we know, there was a little bit of drama going behind the scenes. There was a moment in which John Wall and him couldn't quite connect on a pass. Then we had the post-game press conferences while I was honestly exhausted in bed, and then wake up to just, oh my God, like DeMarcus Cousins coming at him.
Oh yeah.
Wall coming at him. And then before you know it, this happens. Woj bomb. Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Rodion Crooks, and 3 Brooklyn first rounders are going to be with Houston, including a Milwaukee first rounder, unprotected. All these picks are unprotected, which is insane. James Harden is a net. Karis LeVert, second rounder to the Pacers, and the Cavs get Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. Wow, I was not expecting that today.
Are we going to be able to wrap our heads around that, man? That's so many players moving for really in reality, one guy.
Yeah, my thing on it. So we've talked about the possibility of James Harden going to Brooklyn. That has been well talked about for the last few weeks, the last few months. But last time that me and the Boda boys were talking about it, it came down to this. I look at Brooklyn with James Harden, with Kyrie Irving, with Kevin Durant, and there's only 2 possibilities: a championship or a second round exit for me. And there's going to be no in between.
Right.
What about you? Where do you think this team's potential lies? Do you think those possibilities I'm spot on, or?
Well, so the thing with me, man, is like, unfortunately with the Nets now, you've got, in my opinion, you've got 3 players that want to be that guy. Like we all know about Kyrie Irving. Oh, the world's flat. Oh, I'm just kidding. Oh, I wasn't really kidding. Like we all know the craziness about him saging the plays before the game. You know, he wants that attention. There's been no doubt that Kyrie Irving has always wanted the spotlight on him, the cloud on him since he's come into the NBA. But you look at KD leaving OKC, going to Golden State. He knew he wasn't going to be able to be the guy, but at that point he wanted rings. When he went to Brooklyn, he wants to be the guy now. Like he is there. He wants to be the number one. Like you hear Brooklyn, you hear KD, you know. Now you got a guy like James Harden coming in, because we know as soon as he left OKC, he immediately became the number one guy over in Houston. Things weren't working out. And, you know, maybe it could be a good change for James Harden. Maybe he'll go over there and, I mean, you know, maybe he'll turn heel and everybody will be like, what the hell? Like he was really just showing his ass in Houston because now he wanted to just ball with KD and Kyrie, you know, but obviously Kyrie's, you know, going through some stuff right now, taking personal days. Apparently Kevin Durant agrees with him, but they're distant. I don't know, man. There's a lot of reports out there. I would say the ceiling for this team, you know, before they brought Harden in was definitely an NBA title for sure. I mean, you know, they're a well-rounded team, no doubt. And I have all the respect for Steve Nash being the coach, even though Kyrie really wasn't vibing with him. And I don't really understand why. You know, how can you not respect Steve Nash? Like he's such a legend, maybe the best passer we've ever seen. Like, and that's without question, you know, so much passion, so much heart. Can't forget about the hair, man. Like there's no questioning Steve Nash's intellect and, you know, love for the game of basketball. But also, you know, at the floor, I could really see this team, like you mentioned a Woj bomb earlier, man. I could see this team bombing out, potentially like exploding, maybe not even a second round exit, bro. Maybe even a first round exit. Maybe there's so many personalities. Like, you know what it reminds me a lot of is how a lot of people are calling the Steelers a noisy team right now. I feel like Brooklyn could potentially become a noisy team because you got a lot of personalities on that team. And now that's another mouth to feed in James Harden. And like I said, maybe James Harden could come in and, you know, maybe he'll get back into the game, feeling himself. Maybe he really just wanted to show his tail in Houston so he could get to Brooklyn, man. But it's going to be crazy either way. That was a crazy headline. And, you know, like I said, I could see them maybe winning a title, or they would bomb out and honestly not even go for the playoffs, dude.
Well, the big one in this is this huge wild card of Kyrie Irving at the moment.
Yeah.
You mentioned him not really vibing with Steve Nash. I read that report as well.
Like, I don't get that.
If you talk to Kyrie and he said it, we don't even need a coach. This guy is so egotistical, over the top. And Stephen A hit it on the head today. He said, Kyrie maybe should just honestly think about retirement, because clearly his priorities aren't really there with being in the NBA. And I agree with that, because yes, like coming off of the events that happened in Washington, I understand a lot of people are feeling disgruntled in a certain type of way. But at the same time, just think about it from this perspective. How many people called off work the next day? And yet this guy is calling off a week. And I don't know how the James Harden news is going to impact his return to the Nets.
Right.
But there was projections that he might not be back with them for another week. Meanwhile, the NBA's got this whole investigation on him for that picture of him not wearing the mask at the party, which I would have been fine to let go if it was just that. If it was just that, I would have been like, okay, well, hey, you're with family, whatever. I don't even know what the party situation is. Are we talking like a kid's candle cake birthday party?
Right. What kind of party are we talking about here? Like, where was he at unmasked?
Yeah, because if it's like a James Harden type party, that's a different type of party going on behind the scenes. But
we're not at Chuck E. Cheese there, man. We're open the club if it's a Harden party.
New York's a great city for him. The clubs never close.
Honestly. And that, like I said, James Harden really could have just been showing his ass in Houston, won it out. I mean, it's kind of been the same old song and dance with Houston. And I feel like when they got to the Western Conference against Golden State that one year and just couldn't make it happen, like maybe that's just really lingering with him, but either way, man, I mean, he's in another conference now. So it wouldn't surprise me if James Harden just like immediately got back into basketball. You know what I mean by that? Because his personality has like almost become so infectious and so toxic in the NBA. And that's what I was saying. Like, I think it's an awful pickup for Brooklyn in a way, because you have three guys that are bursting with personality. You have to feed their mouths now, and they want to be that dude. So it's going to be interesting for Brooklyn for sure.
Well, this is a team that could put up 150 easy. I'm not going to question that. Easy. But the problem is when I look about how their playing styles work with each other, it just doesn't seem like a mesh point for me.
Right.
I mean, Kyrie, dribble, hold the ball, shoot.
Exactly.
Dribble, hold the ball, shoot.
Like KD's the most dynamic player out of the three of them. And like, is that saying much? Yes. But like, I don't know, man. I don't like it. Deep down, I don't like it. Like how I've been thinking about the Ravens and the Bills this weekend. I'm finally going to take the Ravens, even though I really thought the whole time the Bills were going to win. I got this deep feeling that it was not a good pickup for Brooklyn. And like a lot of people were saying ECF, maybe even the finals, maybe even winning the title. And then just, I don't think James Harden was the right move for them, man. I don't think they needed him.
Yeah, need, want, desire,
right?
Concepts that don't necessarily always work in the best interest of a team and an organization moving forward. As far as for Houston, now they get a few more low-profile guys. They have a ton of draft picks now.
They could build up for sure. Like they've got so much draft capital. Like I said, so much of a haul for realistically one superstar to make a move. And then Oladipo obviously, went to Houston, which was kind of big. Like that's a good utility piece. Like Oladipo is very respected, So I mean, with all those picks, Houston really could have been onto something. I don't blame them for wanting to get Harden out of there. I mean, it was tough.
Well, they've hit a wall with him because they have been so versatile, and the guys that they've brought into that locker room to try and complement James's style. Whether that be Westbrook, whether that be CP3, whether that be Dwight Howard. They've been doing.
You just named like three great players.
John Wall. Hell, I was watching John Wall last night, and he looked like the best player that the Rockets were throwing out there. James just looked so disinterested in the game, and it was apparent, obviously. Last game there, goes to the media, we're just not good enough to win. And I guess you can say, they're not good enough to beat the Lakers at this current juncture in time. But if you're a leader.
Not a lot of teams are, man, but that's the motivation to have, That's how you got to get that ring. You got to go through LeBron and the Lakers.
I feel for their new coach. Obviously, we've been talking so much too about like minority coaches in the NBA. He doesn't even get a chance to work with a superstar in James Harden because James is just so disinterested in him from the start.
Exactly.
New GM. And now he goes to Brooklyn. Obviously, it works very well because D'Antoni is also there. Who knows who's really pulling the strings between D'Antoni and Nash. And I will say for the Nets' benefit, they didn't have to eat that much into their depth. Of course, Karis LeVert is like a huge piece. I'm not going to completely undersell that, but
I want to say he was all NBA last year, like for the all NBA bubble team or something.
They mortgaged the future, but if you can win a title this year, you win a title next year, it doesn't matter what future you mortgage. The only problem for them is they don't want to end up like that previous Nets team that sold everything to the Celtics and didn't win shit.
Literally.
Yeah.
I feel you on that, man.
That's the biggest cause for concern. And this has beautiful disaster written all over it.
That's a perfect way to put it. Like, it's a really ugly canvas, but they might be able to paint it so beautiful for like an ECF or an NBA title, but it's probably not going to happen. Like, I don't realistically see three personalities that are that effervescent in this sport. Like the NBA is a culture sport. The NBA is all about like what the media is popping about. Like, and it's the only sport. A good way to put this into perspective is it's the only sport where there's not a barrier between you and the fans. You don't sit courtside in the NFL. You don't sit, you sit home plate in Major League, but there's still that net in between you. in the NBA, it's so viral. Like it's probably the most viral sport, like the easiest to get the content out there for, and with three guys like that on the same team, new coach, like they want to win the title. I don't see it happening, man. It feels like you said, like a beautiful disaster, 100%.
This kind of feeds into a previous prediction I made. I said either one of Kevin Durant or Kyrie wouldn't be on the Nets in 2022. And I'm kind of feeling that if, let's say they don't win that title this year,
right,
they just blow up like one piece there, because you could win a title. If you told me James Harden and Kevin Durant were just the two driving pieces, I think you can win a title.
Right.
Kyrie and KD, I was always kind of feeling a little hesitant on. And
right.
This isn't just the Celtics bias lingering through. I look at Kyrie, man, the guy is just so frustrating to like think about from like a fan perspective, from a broadcasting perspective.
Exactly.
He's a headline, but I think he's more trouble than he's worth. He hasn't done anything outside of having LeBron as a teammate.
I agree, man. Definitely agree. And he had a decent stint in Boston. Obviously, he was great in Cleveland. Some people say one of LeBron's rings is because of Kyrie. I get that. Now he's in Brooklyn, but it has been a steadfast decline, and it's unfortunate because Kyrie's extremely talented. Like on his best day, you could argue he's a top 2, top 3 point guard in the league. But when do you get his best day? When do you get the Kyrie Irving that's not trying to be toxic and not trying to draw all the personality and attention to him? And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're so loud in a sport, like I said, man, it's with the Steelers, you eventually start getting distracted. You start having noise around your team, and that's going to distract you from the final goal, which obviously is a championship. That's what every player wants.